Our planet is a place of breathtaking beauty, a delicate and intricate tapestry of life woven over millennia. We build our homes, our cities, our entire civilizations upon its surface, often with the quiet assumption that the ground beneath our feet is solid and unchanging. But the Earth is a dynamic, living entity. Its processes, which have shaped continents and carved canyons over eons, operate on a scale far beyond our human comprehension and, at times, our control. These forces, usually working unseen, can occasionally unleash their full, terrifying power in moments of unimaginable violence. We have all seen the images, moments frozen in time that defy belief. A colossal wall of water, a tsunami, relentlessly crashing into a shore, erasing everything in its path. An entire hillside, saturated and unstable, giving way in a landslide, carrying houses out to sea as if they were mere toys. A monstrous tornado, a twisting funnel of fury, tearing a path of destruction through a city street. Even the ground itself can betray us, as an underwater sinkhole opens up with terrifying speed, swallowing a grove of mature trees in a matter of seconds. These are not scenes from a disaster film. They are real, captured by the unflinching eye of a camera. These recordings serve as a stark and humbling reminder of nature's immense and often unpredictable power. They allow us to bear witness, from a safe distance, to events that are as awe-inspiring as they are devastating. They challenge our sense of permanence and force us to confront the true scale of the natural world. They are a testament to both the fragility of our own existence and the resilience of those who endure. Here are 10 of the greatest natural disasters ever caught on camera. In the heart of the Swiss Alps, nestled within the canton of Valais, lies the tranquil village of Grunier. For generations, its inhabitants have lived in harmony with the mountains that surround them, accustomed to their seasonal shifts and moods. But in August of 2018, the mountains revealed a different, more volatile character. Following a period of exceptionally heavy and relentless rainstorms, the earth on the slopes above the village became dangerously saturated, a ticking clock of geological instability. The delicate balance that held the soil and rock in place was about to be broken. What began as a trickle soon became a torrent. A river of mud, rock, and debris broke free, a viscous, unstoppable mass descending upon the unsuspecting village. Residents, drawn by the ominous rumble, could only watch in a mixture of fear and disbelief. Footage captured from balconies shows the mud flow cascading over retaining walls. Designed for far lesser events, as if they were insignificant pebbles, the sheer force of the flow was immense, a thick gray slurry that moved with a life of its own, demonstrating the raw power of gravity combined with water. The scene was one of controlled chaos. The mud, thick as wet cement, surged through the narrow streets, an alien presence in the picturesque alpine setting. It engulfed the lower levels of homes and businesses, its progress slow, but utterly inexorable. Vehicles parked on the streets were caught in its path, pushed aside, and partially buried by the creeping tide of earth. The sound was a constant, grinding roar, the noise of a landscape unmaking itself, a deeply unsettling soundtrack to the surreal visuals unfolding before the villagers' eyes. Miraculously, despite the scale of the mudslide and the proximity of the homes to its destructive path, there were no injuries reported. The event served as a powerful illustration of the ever-present dangers in mountain communities, where the very geography that provides such stunning beauty can also harbor immense destructive potential. The cleanup would be long and arduous, but the footage remains a chilling document of the day the mountain came to visit Grunier, a slow-motion disaster that held an entire village captive. The serene coastline of northern Norway, with its deep blue fjords and dramatic cliffs, presents an image of ancient, steadfast permanence. But the geology here is more complex than it appears. Beneath the surface, in areas like the Alta Fjord, lie deposits of quick clay, a unique and highly unstable type of marine clay that can change from a solid to a liquid state with shocking speed when disturbed. In June of 2020, this hidden geological vulnerability was exposed in the most dramatic fashion imaginable. Without warning, a huge section of the shoreline, measuring an astonishing 650 meters wide, simply gave way. It was not a slow creep or a gradual slump. It was a sudden, catastrophic collapse. Raw footage of the event is profoundly unsettling. It captures the moment the land liquefies, detaching from the mainland and beginning a slow, inexorable slide into the cold waters of the fjord. The ground appears to flow like water, carrying everything with it in a vast, cohesive mass of earth, turf, and rock. 8 houses, perched on this now mobile piece of land, were swept along on this bizarre and terrifying journey. The buildings, mostly holiday cabins and second homes, were carried out into the fjord, bobbing and tilting on the slurry of liquefied clay. It is a surreal sight, a whole neighborhood set adrift on a newly formed peninsula of mud. One can only imagine the sheer terror if these homes had been fully occupied, watching the world dissolve from beneath you as your house is carried out to sea. Remarkably, no one was injured or killed in the incident. A single person had to be evacuated by helicopter from the moving landmass, a testament to the swift response of emergency services. The dramatic footage provided invaluable data for geologists studying the phenomenon of quick clay landslides, a recurring threat in parts of Scandinavia and Canada. It stands as a powerful and visceral reminder that the ground we build upon is not always as solid as we believe it to be, and that ancient geological secrets can reveal themselves with sudden, devastating force. Of vast open spaces and dramatic skies, a region colloquially known as Tornado Alley. Here, the clash of warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico with cool, dry air from the Rockies creates the perfect conditions for severe thunderstorms and the violent, rotating columns of air they can spawn. In July of 2018, the city of Marshalltown, Iowa, found itself directly in the path of one such storm which produced a powerful and destructive EF3 tornado. What makes the Marshalltown event so extraordinary from a visual standpoint is the sheer proximity of the cameras that captured it. This was not a distant funnel cloud on a rural horizon. This was a monster tearing through the very heart of a city. Footage from security cameras and the phones of brave or perhaps foolhardy residents shows the tornado manifesting with terrifying speed. Debris begins to fly, first small pieces, then larger objects, as the vortex intensifies and descends upon the downtown area. The tornado's destructive power is laid bare in these recordings. The iconic 19th century courthouse, a symbol of the city, is seen having its cupola ripped from its roof. The sound is a deafening roar, often described as being like a freight train, as the winds, estimated at up to 144 miles per hour, tear at buildings. Bricks are pulled from walls, windows explode outwards, and roofs are peeled back like tin can lids. The footage is visceral and chaotic, a ground-level view of a city center being systematically dismantled by the force of nature. Despite the widespread and catastrophic damage to hundreds of homes and businesses, including major employers in the city, there was an almost miraculous outcome. No fatalities were reported. The tornado carved a path of destruction, leaving a scar on the landscape and the community that would take years to heal. The videos that emerged from that day are not just spectacular. They are a vital record of an EF3 tornado's behavior in an urban environment, offering a chillingly intimate portrait of one of nature's most violent and unpredictable phenomena. La Grave, nestled in the French Alps, is not your typical ski resort. It's actually a legendary destination for some of the world's most daring off-piste skiers and snowboarders. This is a wild, untamed mountain, no marked trails, no grooming, and yeah, no avalanche control. Here, visitors really are expected to understand the mountains and accept all the inherent risks that come with them. So, in March of 2015, a group of friends enjoying this ultimate freedom were about to get a stark, up-close reminder of what those risks truly mean. As they paused on a ridge, one member of the group kept their camera rolling, just capturing the majestic, snow-covered panorama. Then, all of a sudden, a fracture line appeared high above them on the mountain face. A vast slab of snow detached and began to slide. This was the start of a significant avalanche, a powder cloud that grew exponentially as it gathered mass and speed, thundering down the mountain directly toward their position. What started as a distant spectacle was honestly rapidly becoming a direct and immediate threat. The resulting footage is just breathtaking. The skier filming holds their nerve, tracking the colossal white cloud as it billows and roars toward them. There's this real sense of both awe and impending doom in the video. The sheer scale of the avalanche is immense, a river of snow consuming everything in its path, seeming to fill the entire valley. The sound grows from a distant rumble to an all-encompassing roar, the voice of the mountain itself. For a moment, it seems inevitable that the group will be engulfed. But then, something remarkable happens. The main destructive force of the avalanche passes just below their position on the ridge. The group is hit only by the very edge of the powder cloud. A light dusting of snow that momentarily whites out the camera. They're left shaken but completely unharmed, witnesses to an incredible display of natural power from a terrifyingly close vantage point. The video honestly serves as a humbling lesson. even for experienced mountaineers, about the fine line between adventure and disaster in the high Alps. On the 15th of January 2022, the planet itself, well, seemed to shudder. The Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai submarine volcano out in the South Pacific erupted with a force that really defied comprehension. It was the largest volcanic eruption recorded anywhere on Earth in over 30 years, an event so powerful it generated a sonic boom that circled the globe several times and sent atmospheric shockwaves clear into space. For the nearby islands of the Kingdom of Tonga, the immediate consequence was a catastrophic tsunami. With communications to the outside world instantly severed by the blast, the first images to emerge were captured by those on the ground, living through the nightmare. Footage shows a tranquil shoreline suddenly transformed. The sea recedes in this unnatural way, then returns, not as a gentle tide, but as a surging, churning wall of gray water. It sweeps inland with astonishing speed and force, a sudden and violent flood that just consumes everything in its path. People are seen running for their lives, scrambling for higher ground as the water inundates their homes and villages. The videos capture a scene of utter chaos and helplessness. Cars are lifted and carried away by the current, buildings are swamped, and the familiar landscape disappears beneath those murky, debris-filled waves. The tsunami waves did not just strike once, they came in a series of powerful surges, compounding the destruction and terror. For a nation of low-lying islands, it was really a worst-case scenario. The eruption had blanketed the islands in a thick layer of volcanic ash, and now the sea was claiming what was left. The human cost was tragically real, with 4 confirmed fatalities, but honestly, it could have been far worse. The bravery of those who filmed these moments, under the most terrifying of circumstances, provided the world with its first glimpse into the disaster zone. These recordings are not just dramatic, they are a vital historical document of a globally significant geological event. They show the vulnerability of island nations to such phenomena, and the terrifying multifaceted power of a major submarine volcanic eruption. Severe thunderstorms are, just a fact of life on the Great Plains of North America. But not all storms are created equal. In July of 2016, the residents of Dickinson, North Dakota, experienced a storm of exceptional ferocity, a tempest that unleashed a barrage from the sky. This wasn't just rain, it was a hailstorm of epic proportions, accompanied by destructive winds and a terrifying display of lightning. It was honestly an assault by the atmosphere itself. Dashcam and security footage from that evening paint a dramatic picture. The sky, an ominous shade of green and black, suddenly opens up. What starts as small pellets of ice quickly escalates into a bombardment of hailstones the size of golf balls, and in some cases, even larger. The sound is deafening, a relentless percussive roar as the ice smashes against vehicles, roofs, and windows. In the videos, you can see windshields spiderwebbing and then shattering under the onslaught, leaving drivers exposed to the elements. The storm was more than just hail, it was a multi-pronged attack. Powerful straight-line winds, a phenomenon known as a downburst, accompanied the ice, adding a horizontal component to the destruction. Siding was stripped from houses, trees were uprooted, and street signs were bent to the ground. All the while, the sky was illuminated by an almost constant barrage of lightning, turning the night into a strobing, chaotic spectacle. It was as if every element of a severe thunderstorm had been concentrated over one unfortunate city. The aftermath revealed the extent of the damage. Hundreds of properties and vehicles were battered, dented, and broken, looking as though they had been through a war zone. The financial cost of the repairs would run into the millions, and yet, despite the sheer violence of the storm, which raged for over an hour, there were no serious injuries reported. The footage serves as a stark illustration of the destructive power of hail and wind, a reminder that even without a tornado, a simple thunderstorm can unleash incredible force. In the swampy heart of Louisiana, the ground itself holds a hidden danger. For decades, intensive salt dome mining has occurred deep beneath the surface. In 2012, this activity led to the collapse of a subterranean salt cavern, creating a geological anomaly that would grow to become a major long-term disaster, the Bayou Corn sinkhole. For months it slowly expanded, a creeping environmental catastrophe. But in August of 2013, it demonstrated its power in a sudden, shocking display. A team from the parish's Office of Emergency Preparedness was on site, monitoring the sinkhole's burps of gas and slurry, when they captured something extraordinary. Their camera was pointed at a section of the swamp, at the edge of the sinkhole, an area dense with tall, mature cypress trees that had stood for decades. Without any warning, the ground beneath them gave way. The entire grove of trees, a significant patch of forest, was pulled downwards as if by an unseen hand. The footage is both hypnotic and terrifying. In less than a minute, the towering trees are dragged vertically into the churning, muddy water of the sinkhole. They disappear completely, consumed by the earth with astonishing speed. There is no slow sinking. It is a sudden, violent plunge into the abyss. The video shows the water swirling and bubbling furiously as the trees are swallowed, displacing a massive volume and releasing trapped gases from below. It looks like a bathtub drain, but on a monstrous, landscape-altering scale. This single dramatic event, captured in high quality, became the defining image of the Bayou Corn disaster. It visualized the unseen underground collapse in a way that scientific reports never could. It showed the world the terrifying reality faced by the residents of the nearby community who had been forced to evacuate their homes. The video is a stark and powerful testament to the consequences of industrial activity altering geology, a chilling spectacle of the Earth literally swallowing a forest whole. On December 26, 2004, the third largest earthquake ever recorded on a seismograph ruptured the seafloor off the west coast of northern Sumatra. The sheer scale of this undersea megathrust earthquake, with a magnitude of over 9.1, is honestly difficult to comprehend. It released energy equivalent to thousands of atomic bombs, causing the entire planet to vibrate and displacing a colossal volume of water. This displacement triggered the single most devastating tsunami in recorded history. The waves radiated outwards across the entire Indian Ocean, traveling at the speed of a jetliner. For hours they moved silently and almost invisibly across the deep ocean. But as they approached the shallow coastal waters of 14 countries, from Indonesia and Thailand to India, and as far away as East Africa, this energy was transformed. The water slowed and piled up on itself, creating waves of terrifying height and unstoppable momentum. For millions of people enjoying a holiday morning on the beach, the world was about to end. Amateur video footage from that day is among the most harrowing ever recorded. It shows a scene of idyllic holiday calm, people swimming, palm trees swaying, shattered in an instant. The sea is seen to recede dramatically, exposing the seabed in a strange and ominous omen. Then, on the horizon, a white line appears. It grows rapidly into a churning, debris-filled wall of water that sweeps ashore, not like a breaking wave, but like a relentless, fast-rising flood that simply does not stop. The power on display is absolute. The water smashes through bungalows, carries away cars and boats, and surges deep inland, erasing entire communities from the map. People are seen clinging to debris, running in panic, or simply being overwhelmed by the torrent. It is a primal, chaotic scene of nature's overwhelming force. The 2004 tsunami claimed the lives of over 230,000 people, making it one of the deadliest natural disasters in human history. The footage remains a profoundly sobering and tragic record of our vulnerability in the face of the planet's most powerful forces. For 2 months in the spring of 1980, Mount St. Helens in Washington state had been signaling its reawakening. A series of earthquakes and small steam eruptions had prompted scientists to issue warnings and establish an exclusion zone around the volcano. A prominent bulge, growing at a rate of 5 feet per day, had formed on the mountain's north flank, a clear sign of magma accumulating just below the surface. The mountain was a time bomb, and on the morning of May 18th, the fuse was lit. At 8:32 a.m., a magnitude 5.1 earthquake shook the volcano, triggering the event everyone had feared. The entire north face, the over-steepened bulge, catastrophically failed. It was the largest debris avalanche in recorded history. This sudden uncorking of the mountain released the superheated, gas-rich magma within in a colossal lateral blast. It was not a classic vertical eruption. It was a sideways explosion that fired rock, ash, and hot gas outwards at over 300 miles per hour. Several photographers and geologists were positioned at what they believed were safe distances, and their cameras captured the eruption's initial, terrifying moments. The footage is apocalyptic. It shows the whole side of the mountain dissolving into a landslide, immediately followed by a roiling gray pyroclastic cloud that expands and surges across the landscape, hugging the ground and obliterating everything in its path. The cloud moves with unbelievable speed, swallowing ridges and valleys in seconds. The blast flattened 230 square miles of forest, snapping giant fir trees like toothpicks. The heat melted glaciers, creating volcanic mudflows or lahars that choked rivers and destroyed bridges miles downstream. The vertical plume of ash that followed reached over 80,000 feet into the atmosphere, turning day into night across eastern Washington and depositing ash in 11 states. The footage captured that day provided unprecedented insight into the dynamics of a lateral blast eruption, forever changing our understanding of volcanic hazards, and leaving behind an iconic, chilling record of a mountain tearing itself apart. California, with its sun-drenched landscapes and Mediterranean climate, is a place of immense natural beauty. However, its long, dry summers and seasonal Santa Ana winds create a perfect storm for another, terrifying natural disaster: wildfire. In recent years, due to a combination of climate change, drought, and human activity, these fires have grown in size, speed, and intensity, becoming megafires that behave in ways never before seen. Dashcam and mobile phone footage from recent fire seasons provides a terrifying, immersive perspective of what it is like to be caught in one of these infernos. The videos often begin with a deceptively beautiful, if ominous, orange glow on the horizon, but this quickly turns into a scene from a nightmare. Drivers are seen navigating roads flanked by towering walls of flame on both sides, a tunnel of fire. Embers, the size of fists, rain down, smashing into windshields and igniting spot fires far ahead of the main fire front. The speed of these fires is what is most shocking. Driven by hurricane-force winds, the flames can race across the landscape faster than a person can run, leaping across highways and consuming entire neighborhoods in minutes. Footage from inside communities like Paradise, California, during the 2018 campfire shows a chaotic exodus, with residents fleeing for their lives as their homes ignite and explode around them. The air is thick with black smoke, turning midday into pitch-black night, disorienting and terrifying those trying to escape. These recordings are more than just dramatic, they are a visceral warning. They capture the sheer, uncontrollable power of a modern megafire and the horrifying speed at which a familiar landscape can be transformed into an uninhabitable hellscape. They show the bravery of the firefighters who drive into these conditions, and the desperation of those caught in the fire's path. As climate conditions continue to shift, these videos serve as a stark and urgent document of a new and frightening era of wildfire in California and around the world. We have journeyed to the front lines of nature's fury, witnessing through the unblinking lens of a camera the moments when our planet unleashes its awesome and terrifying power. From the liquefying earth of a Norwegian fjord to the explosive heart of a volcano, these images confront us with a profound truth: that the forces that shape our world operate on a scale that dwarfs our human endeavors. We are, for all our ingenuity and technology, inhabitants of a planet whose deep rhythms and sudden shifts we can observe, and, sometimes, predict, but never truly control. These events are not malicious, for nature holds no malice. They are the result of immense physical processes. The slow, inexorable grinding of tectonic plates, the complex dance of atmospheric pressure and temperature, the simple, powerful pull of gravity on unstable ground. The footage we have seen is a testament not only to the destructive potential of these processes, but also to their fundamental role in the constant creation and reshaping of the world we live in. The same forces that trigger a devastating landslide also build the mountains we marvel at. And so, we are left with a sense of humility and of awe. These glimpses into nature's raw power should not only inspire fear, but also a deeper respect for the planet that is our only home. They remind us of the courage of those who endure and rebuild, and of the critical importance of understanding the world around us. For it is only by listening to the rumbles of the earth and watching the patterns in the sky that we can hope to live in greater harmony with the immense and untamable power of the natural world.